and maybe having performance issues. You're not my therapist. Just be a fucking webcam and do what I fucking tell you to do. Hello all of you little demons, Jules here for WhatCulture.com, back again with another episode of the awesomely named and awfully hosted Choose Your Own Adventure, the weekly medieval themed format where I, the crown jewels of WhatCulture.com, take a list chosen by you, yes you dirty little cheeky ape who's sitting on the toilet doom scrolling away just going, why is the world so bad? Keep it calm, it's gonna be fine. Yes, you get to decide what list I dole out to you each and every single week. And this week we have none other to thank than Kate Mosley for one of her many suggestions, but the one that I picked out was brilliant video games that were made impossibly hard by terrible video game mechanics. And there's nothing worse than that when we basically look at a game and go, that is ace. That has been kissed by the one and the only Slime Jesus. But what's this? Who's this coming along here? It's a terrible video game mechanic nailed by Beelzebub and I'm caught in the middle of the thing. Whoa. So let's take a look at them today and keep a level head. As I'm Jules, this is WhatCulture.com, and these are 8 brilliant video games that were made impossible by terrible mechanics. Boo earns. Number 8, Alone in the Dark, Inventory and Driving Sections. Now this is the thing, nobody's going to be holding up the Alone in the Dark that we got in 2008 that was at once a reboot and a sequel and also a little bit of a prequel. It was a very weird game as a champion of all the best things about the survival horror genre, but you know what, my friends? It had a lot going for it. Therefore, it was a shame that a few key areas hampered the overall experience and made things artificially difficult for the player. For example, while the narrative might have ended up being absolutely laughable and much memed to this day, I am the fucking Lightbringer. The journey to that point was pretty engaging, as was the interesting use of fire physics for puzzles and for combat. In fact, combat definitely had much more of a focus in this title, meaning that the player was always battling against beasts from the dark at any given moment. To be fair, I love a video game that basically allows me to act out all of those childhood fantasies of just like, I've got a can of Lynx and a lighter. Let's see what happens. Not doing my math homework. But it's a shame, therefore, that the inventory system kinda sucked. The presentation of it was nice, with the player holding items inside their actual coat, but being unable to pause the game, plus a finicky system of getting it or combining the item that you actually wanted, meant that you could get battered before you've even located your weaponry. And adding to all of this is quite possibly the worst driving mechanics in any game I have ever played. Now, I get what they were trying to do here, to infuse a sense of action into the proceedings, but my God, these sections were glitchy. Your car handled like it was the Titanic on ice, and if you got ahead of the scripted sections because you were driving too well, you'd sometimes fall through the fucking floor. If these sections were tweaked or worked on more, then this might place higher in the overall Alone in the Dark games rankings, but when such moments leave as bitter a taste in my mouth, many wanted to snuff out the Lightbringer once and for all. Number 7, Vampyr, Impossible Dialogue Choices. So we've all been in that situation where we said the wrong thing at the wrong time and either been embarrassed by our friends or had our backs turned on us by other people as they call us out for our mistakes. It's a thing that happens, also known as a career in what culture. It's part and parcel. It's part and parcel of it all. But this is the thing, most situations in real life don't often lead us to the brink of no return, and sometimes a few apologies and a sort of like, yeah, okay, I'll learn from my mistakes, will allow you to come back. Vampyr, however, did not get this message, because if you make a few dialogue choices in the wrong direction, then my God, my friend, you're boned. While receiving middling to lukewarm reviews from critics, the player base for this game has been very vocal about its positives, namely its rich world building and granular choice and dialogue systems, and in all honesty, I cannot fault the game for these mechanics. But what I can sink my fangs into about these mechanics is that sometimes they can be utter shit. For example, Vampyr runs off a system whereby if you make the right dialogue choices, certain NPCs open up to you and divulge more information. But get it wrong, however, and you'll end up talking to a wall as they completely clam up and refuse to converse further. The issue is that this game makes no mention of how to distinguish what is right and wrong in these moments, leading to scenarios where the player makes sections nigh on impossible as key intel is lost forever or clues for items or upgrades are gated off entirely. And the irony of a game so focused on talking having these terrible mechanics was not lost on the fan base. Boo. Number 6, Silent Hill 4 The Room, Home Invasion. So Silent Hill 4 is a bit of a contentious topic among the fan base. Some absolutely love the claustrophobic nature of the title, while others felt that the doing away of the gameplay and focusing on returning and a lot of backtracking to the titular room was at its detriment. I'm in the former. I thought this was a great game, and I loved the sense of uncanny you got from revisiting one area over and over and seeing how little things were changing, how something wasn't right. But I can understand the frustrations that the latter had, especially when it came to the midway point in this game, because, oh boy, do they throw you a curveball. I don't know where I was going with that, but they throw you a curveball. Because there's one aspect about this game that was truly infuriating, and this was the fact that around midway through the game, the room in question, which is actually the sole save space of the game, and which was once able to keep enemies out, suddenly loses this protection, as well as the ability to heal the player thanks to the fans in the room stopping working. The only way to purify this space of evil is to use candles or hard-to-come-by medallions, which are limited in number and hidden throughout the game. And this is the problem. While I like this as a mechanic, I do not like the fact that the game makes no mention of this whatsoever. You're told that the candles can be used to avoid certain enemies early on in the game. So therefore you use them on those enemies earlier on in the game, meaning that when you come to this midway section, if you hadn't been hoarding all of them, then you might find yourself literally unable to enter the room because the ghosts deal damage to you, you have no healing items because they're inside the chest, and the ghosts are by the chest. Cheers. Number 5, Comix Zone. Breaking objects hurts you. What a brilliant game Comix Zone was. If you've never played it, it is a cult classic on the Mega Drive that Sega created, and it is just so brilliant. Its visuals are stupendously good, even to this day, and has a really interesting concept where you play a character called Sketch, who's drawn inside his own comics by a bolt of lightning that hits the pages, and you've got to fight your way out of it. It's brilliant fun. The beat-em-up action was deliciously visceral, and the title implemented some pretty excellent ideas, such as jumping through the panels themselves or busting through the paper to uncover secret items. However, the game was utterly ball-breakingly hard in places, featuring enemies that could chew through your health like you were indeed made of paper. Yet, that's not actually the mechanic that soured an otherwise brilliant experience, as that would fall on the shoulders of the developer who decided that attacking obstacles in this game would chip off a bit of your health. Imagine the pain of getting through a razor's edge, tight as hell action sequence with a slither of health left, only to come up against a wall of obstacles that the game tells you you must break in order to get through, and each one of them deals just about enough damage to kill you. You're dying in order to proceed. That is not good game design. Number 4, Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance. The camera. Platinum Games. If they were a person, they would be like a cartoonish, over-the-top mad scientist, because the way that they approach their titles with such wanton abandon and gleeful will to destroy everything that we hold dear, from genre tropes to over-the-top action, it makes me think that in the Platinum Games office they've got like a half-built doomsday device just waiting there, and they're just like, we'll get around to it once we've finished mashing up this game. And you know what, there's quite possibly no better expression of their design philosophy of let's have some fucking fun than Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance, which is hands down the most off-the-wall Metal Gear experience to date. Dropping stealth for all-out action was always going to stick in the craw of some die-hard fans, but the sheer confidence, style, and tight as Snake's tactical suit action made this an instant classic. Plus, who could resist chopping enemies and objects to pieces with visceral, slow-mo slice and dice action? It was brilliant. It was just kind of like... And he's like, I've got a wife and kids. What are you doing? And you're like, awkward. And he's like, he pulls out a photo of one and he's like, oh, this is my kid, it's just been born. And you're just like, I'm sorry, I've committed now. What was that about? Anyway, sorry about that. Yeah, the only problem with all of this is that while it is intensely fun to do the do of slicing said guy in two, the camera really does want none of it. It's like it's being piloted by someone with a nervous disposition, because as soon as you get behind to slice somebody up, sometimes for no reason whatsoever, it'll just be like, hey look, there's a rock on the ground. Check out the foliage. I don't want to. I want to see this guy's spine pop out like a Pez dispenser. Trying to slice specific parts off an enemy while battling the camera made for some infuriating moments, and on higher difficulties resulted in more deaths than I could count. Now our cyborg bad boy is used to overwhelming odds, but now even one-on-one fights became a handicap match, as this lacquer 2 lack-in camera operator really did bungle my whiz. Number 3, Sonic All-Stars Racing Transformed. First place items. If there's one thing that all kart racers should strive to do, it is that they should make their racing mechanics and overall experience fun and fair. After all, this is a genre designed around multiplayer and sort of local couch co-op gameplay, so they want to make sure that you keep coming back. Right? I mean, nobody likes it when they're in dead last place in a race designed around party play, and so a lot of these titles include mechanics like rubber banding to help them catch up, and the gap between first and last never seems so large that they can't ever take pole position again, and there's also restrictions on what types of items that players can get based on their position. Well, Sonic All-Stars Racing Transformed got half of this message, because the latter it completely ignores. Despite being a kart racer of otherwise brilliant quality, the devs forgot to limit the first place racer in what they could pick up, meaning that they could get access to missiles which basically act like red shells from the Mario Kart series, even while they're leading the pack. This created moments of pure frustration for players looking to pass into pole position, only to get a rocket up the bloody tailpipe. Now, there were workarounds to this, like being able to overtake somebody while you're going through a transformation sequence, which does offer a few invulnerability frames, but still, you shouldn't have to do that in a game based around fun. And it was not fun. Number 2, Donkey Kong 64 and GTA San Andreas, Optional Mission Hell. Now, it might seem a bit cheeky to place 2 entries under one banner, but bear with me here, because the Supply Lines mission from GTA San Andreas and Beaver Bother from Donkey Kong 64 are both brothers in hell. They are, so spicy, they make my piss boil. It seems like just uttering each of these experiences to players will likely send them into a rage, as these really did sour an otherwise brilliant pair of experiences. The Supply Lines mission was a steaming turd when it came to its implementation of flight mechanics, as in the original version the plane would lose fuel even when gliding, and did so at a rate that meant that you had to be nigh on perfect with your controls. And when you remember that this thing handled about as well as Bethesda's PR department, it made for a controller-shattering time. Thankfully, this was fixed in the re-releases, but for a while, this, alongside "all you had to do was follow the train, CJ," was infamous amongst the player base. In a complimentary fashion, Beaver Bother tasked players with herding beavers into a hole. Vicar? But for some unknown reason, Rare decided to give gamers a truly tight time limit and make sure that at least one of the furry little bastards would refuse to drop in no matter how well you angled your approach. Now, speedrunners get through this section with maybe like 1 or 2 seconds to spare, so what chance did us mere mortals have at completing this? It's so infuriating, but luckily I will calm the nerves down now by doing this week's musical interlude. Osley, are you ready, my friend?
Don't you dare chat crap about San Andreas.
James, warm up those pipes, my friend. Let me hear it.
La.
No, you're not speaking into the mic. You're speaking into a shoe again. Come on.
La.
There we go. Now put Jazz on. Jazz is better at this than you are.
La.
No, she's speaking into the shoe as well. You're teaching her bad habits, mate.
I don't think we can go on like this anymore, Jazz.
Somehow he expects me to just create a song out of thin air. How? How do I do that?
And I don't know what the song is because I'm going to make it off the top of my head, which is great.
You just ask for the same damn crap every week.
Because I know that James loves this when I go completely out of sync in time, so that's going to be fun, isn't it?
The most insane things ever.
And somehow we have to work with this.
I don't know what the song's going to be in terms of style. Let's go with,
Flamenco. I'm stuck in his basement and he won't let me out.
Help me, Jules hasn't let me out in a month.
Just let me leave, Jules.
Every week. Every goddamn week he humiliates us. He degrades us.
I look at this, for example. Look what he makes me do.
If James wants to get into a dress and do the like flamenco dancing, that'd be fantastic. I mean, I'm not asking for much.
I don't want to wear a dress.
It's absolutely sickening.
Get in the fucking hole. Beaver, get in the fucking hole. Furry bastard, I hate you so. Get into the fuck. And number 1, Resident Evil 5 AI stupidity. Right. So take it from me. As a man who has just recompleted this game, both solo and with Kirsten over on WhatCulture Gaming, we did an entire stream of the full playthrough of this game, and I do suggest that you go and check it out because it would be great to get the support for the streams back again. It would be fantastic, my friends. So take it from me. I know this game inside and out, more so than I probably would like. And my God, does the AI suck. Now, the enemies, bless them, they've got a bit more of an excuse for being absolutely brain dead, seeing as they're playing host to an evil and all-consuming virus that probably would affect their central nervous system, but the AI for Sheva, especially when you're playing solo, is nightmarish. Now, I don't want to speak ill of her as a character, as I do actually think that she's one of the more motivated and engaging protagonists of the series. But why in the name of Slime Jesus, no, don't come down, mate, I've already used you for a previous bit, but why in the name of Slime Jesus was her brain programmed with one of Barry's sandwiches? Your partner will gleefully munch up precious ammo without warning, and even worse, charge maniacally towards the special enemies such as the chainsaw-wielding brutes or the one-hit kill bugs and get obliterated over and over and over again. Made all the more infuriating as they yell, "I got this!" or something equally asinine before being snapped in two. Now, it's a shame, because Resident Evil 5, while admittedly being a huge step down from Resident Evil 4, it still had a ton of great things going for it, and when it's running on full steam, I actually do really enjoy the two-player aspect. Like, go back and watch the streams with Kirsten Knight. It's really, really fun to balance the sort of experiences between two players. I like that. But when one of them is controlled by an absolute loaf of wet bread, no. Not about that lifestyle. And on the professional difficulty, you might as well quit. Play online with a friend, or locally, or don't even try and complete this mode at all on that difficulty. Because you will lose all your hair. This game released in 2009, right? 2010. When did I lose my hair? Fuck. And there we go, my friends. Those were 8 brilliant video games that were made impossible by terrible mechanics. I hope that you enjoyed that, and please let me know what you thought about it down in the comments section below. If you want to chat to me further, my friends, then I have got something for you to do. I run a second channel. It's called Live and Let's Dice. I do loads of gaming, loads of live streaming, loads of board game stuff as well. It's like my passion project, so I think. So it would mean the world to me if you went over to Twitter and typed in LALD tweet and went and followed there, because that's where I'll be doing a lot of my tweeting for that channel, respectively. So it'd be lovely. The support would be great. Thank you very much. Big kisses to you. And other big kiss to your mental self as well. Treat yourself with love and respect, because you goddamn well deserve it, my friend. Sometimes we can feel deep down that we've been programmed with terrible mechanics, that we're going to keep making mistakes and errors over and over again. But I promise you, that is not the case. You are a good person. You deserve love, happiness, and success. And I really, truly believe that. And I want you to go out there and achieve all of your life goals. So go out there with love in your heart, a positive song in your head, maybe not the one that I sung earlier on in this, and go out there and absolutely smash it. Okay, my friend? Big love from me to you. As always, I've been Jules. You have been awesome. Never forget that. And I will see you here next week on Choose Your Own Adventure. Big love to Osley. Big love to James. I know I give them a lot of guff, but they're some of my best friends. God, that was disarming. Anyway, right, okay. I'll see you in a bit, guys. Bye. Love you. Bye.